Lucio Fulci is best remembered for his Italian horror flicks, but he dabbled in many different genres, and his most well-known western is The Four of the Apocalypse. The film follows a group of individuals, a card shark gambler named Stubby, a pregnant prostitute named Bunny, a mentally ill man named Bud, and a drunk named Clem as they travel towards a town named Sun City. On the way, they encounter a man named Chaco who seems friendly at first but ends up being a sadist. From there, the film veers wildly into left field as the group ends up in a ghost town and unknowingly cannibalizes one of their group. It is a Fulci film after all. They then travel to a town of all men who assist Bunny in giving birth before Stubby and Chaco have a final showdown. Unlike the last episode where we discussed Cutthroats 9, our main characters here are actually likable. Stubby, played by Fabio Testi, is a card cheat, but he generally comes across as a good dude. This goes all the way through the film as he not only falls in love with Bunny, but helps her deliver her baby and presents himself as her husband. Bunny, Clem, and Bud are all troubled in their own ways, but come across to viewers as good people at their cores, which is intentional because the highlight of the film is Thomas Million as Chaco. This guy is utterly insane, and could not be more opposite of our four leads. We see him gun people down, carve the skin off a sheriff's chest, assault the pregnant Bunny after giving her peyote, and generally just terrorizes everyone he comes across. It's a very memorable performance. Now, people will either really like the total shift in tone and story halfway through the film, or they will hate it. Once the charismatic Chaco exits the film at the end of Act 1, the film gets really bizarre and surreal. This is where Fulci's flair for horror comes into play. Starving and stuck in a literal ghost town during a rainstorm, one of the group dies, and unbeknownst to Stubby and Bunny, they end up cannibalizing their friend. I was actually surprised when the reveal came because I wasn't even thinking about it, so kudos to the film for making me not see the obvious. Then they make their way to a small town made up of all men who refuse to have women in their midst. But this town of hardened men end up helping Bunny give birth and adopt her child to raise as one of their own. It is so weird and unexpected, it's hard to even describe. The camera work by Sergio Salvati, who would later go on to lens Fulci's most famous horror films like Zombie, is awesome. There's a specific shot that I really love that involves the camera pulling back as every man in town freezes as the baby's born. It's just a beautiful shot. The worst aspect of this film is easily the score. There is this really awful modern music that's written to sort of describe what the characters are going through during the scenes. In a Western, I want Western music. I don't want modern soft rock. It feels way out of place. The other thing is that the shift from Chaco to the surreal final half of the film can be jarring. It's like you're watching two separate movies, and when Stubby finally gets his revenge on Chaco at the end of the film, it feels tacked on and out of place. It would have been better to have the revenge on Chaco beforehand, in my opinion. Overall, I really like this film. It feels poignant at moments, and it's nice to have some characters who aren't total reprobates. Chaco's a great villain, even if he does disappear for most of the latter half of the film, and the surrealness of it makes it very unique in the Western genre. The opening of the film does have a really cool shootout as well, so you do get a bit of your Western firefight flair here and there. But if you like Fulci or are only familiar with his horror films, definitely give this one a look. It's a super weird Western that's all over the place, but somehow it works.